Hello again. The purge begins at Bethel. On April 14th, 8 days before Schroeder returned my call, a witness in New York named Joe Gould phoned the Brooklyn Service Department and talked to Harley Miller, a member of the 5-man Service Department Committee. He told Miller that a fellow employee, a Cuban witness named Humberto Godinez, had told him of a conversation in his home with a friend who was a Bethel family member. He said that the Bethel family member expressed himself on a number of points that differed from the organization's teachings. Miller recommended to Gould that he try to find out from Godinez the name of the Bethel family member. This was done, and the name of Chris Sanchez was supplied. Godinez also said that my name and those of Ed Dunlap and Rene Vasquez came into the conversation. Miller did not recommend to Gould and Godinez that they endeavor to clarify matters with those involved, nor to seek a solution through brotherly discussion. Miller did not speak to Ed Dunlap, who was well known to him, and in an office just across the street from him. He did not make a phone call to Rene Vasquez, whom he had known for years, and whose services as voluntary chauffeur he regularly employed. He did not endeavor to contact Chris Sanchez, who worked in the Society's factory and was accessible by telephone. He first spoke to the members of the Service Department Committee and asked if any of them could supply any similar information. He then went to the chairman of the governing body, Albert Schroeder. He was told to arrange for Godinez and his wife to come to the headquarters for an interview with Miller. Nothing was said to Chris Sanchez, Ed Dunlap, or Rene Vasquez, nor was anything communicated to me. The chairman's committee of the governing body evidently felt that to have acted in such a friendly way, thereby endeavoring to keep the matter from becoming a major issue, was not the desirable way to proceed. During Miller's interview with the Godinezes, he suggested to Godinez that he phone Rene Vasquez and tactfully see if he would express himself about the matter. Miller himself did not see fit to do so, nor did he consider it advisable to phone Ed Dunlap or walk across the street to talk to him about the matter. The phone call to Rene was made and the apparent goal was achieved. Rene responded in a way that could be viewed as incriminating. Another interview with the Godinez couple was arranged, this time with the chairman's committee, composed of governing body members Schroeder, Suter, and Klein, present. This was held on Tuesday, April the 15th. Still nothing had been said to Rene, Ed, Chris, or myself. The interview ran 2 hours and was taped. Through Godinez's recollections and impressions, they heard of his conversation with fellow Cuban and longtime friend Chris Sanchez, following a meal at the Godinez home. A number of controversial points were discussed. Godinez's presentation included numerous references to Rene, Ed Dunlap, and myself. At the close of the taping, each of the 3 governing body members, Schroeder, Suter, and Klein, commended the Godinez couple for their loyalty and expressed on tape their disapproval of those who had been implicated by the interview. Like Miller, the chairman's committee of the governing body had made no effort to talk to Chris Sanchez, about whom they had heard only hearsay evidence. They had made no effort to talk with Rene Vasquez, Ed Dunlap, or myself, about whom they had heard only third-hand information. Yet, the next day, Wednesday, April 16th, 1980, at the regular governing body session, the chairman's committee played the entire 2-hour tape of the interview to the body. Milton Henschel and Lyman Swingle, and of course Ray Franz, were absent. All of this had taken place 1 week before Schroeder spoke to me on the phone, a phone call that he made only at my request. It was after this playing of the tape to the governing body that the questioning of Ed Dunlap and subsequently of the entire writing staff took place. It was that tape that motivated the questioning. The governing body members who did the questioning, Barry, Barr, and Schroeder, knew that was the case. Yet they said nothing about it, even when Barry and Barr were asked by Ed Dunlap the reason for the interrogation. Why? The action taken was swift, extensive, coordinated. Both Chris Sanchez and his wife, and also Nestor Culian and his wife, were now interrogated. Chris and Nestor both worked in the Spanish translation department, where Rene served 2 days a week. Harley Miller now phoned Rene and asked him if he would come to the office, saying, "We just want to pick your brains a little on some points." So our experience in leaving in 1988 was similar. We were told by the two elders on the phone that although this meeting was a questioning of some things that we had thought and done, it could turn into a judicial meeting. So when we pointed out the praise the Watchtower had lavished upon the Israelite way of doing this back in Deuteronomy 16, the open trials at the gates of the town, and how this would avoid star chamber procedures, what we got back when we said that this was a procedure that we would be comfortable with, we would gladly come to a general meeting of the Kingdom Hall where the entire congregation were invited, and we would love to come if our family and friends were also invited to the meeting. What we got back after a slight pause on the phone was, well, that's not the society's policy. And I laughed out loud on the phone, which, of course, as far as we were concerned, or at least Vivian was concerned, sealed our fate. The elders, two of whom I had served with for years on the judicial body of the university congregation, were telling us, in effect, that they too were not going to follow scriptural precedent, but were going to go along loyally with society's policy. So a few weeks later, we were disfellowshipped. Ray Franz and the Inquisition go on in our next segment.